picking up in Matthew chapter 6. And it's safe for little kids. I put Sophia on it this morning. She stopped about the 14-foot mark. And the adults, you're going to go 42 feet, I'm telling you right now. But anyway, picking up this morning in Matthew chapter 6, continuing on with the Beatitudes, where Jesus talks about where your treasure is. What is the priority? What are we working towards? Somebody asked John D. Rockefeller one time, they said, what does it take to make a man happy? His reply was, a little more than he has. And the reason for that is we're always wanting more. And that is an empty pursuit. We see that many times of our celebrities and those that we have granted that position to. And so many times we read where they cut down their crime, or suicide, or drug abuse, or things like that, and just have everything that a person could want, a material thing a person could want, and are just miserable. So as Jesus talks about that, then we'll get to look at how does our joy become full? What do we pursue? And what the do's and don'ts that go along with it. First, let's go to the Lord in prayer. And about something I read last week. It doesn't really go with today's sermon, but we'll see what the Lord does with that. Douglas MacArthur, at the end of World War II, had one of the Japanese generals, when they had decided they were going to surrender, he met with MacArthur. And we met, he reached to shake General MacArthur's hand. And MacArthur told him, he said, I cannot shake your hand as long as that sword hangs at your side. He said, as long as you're wearing that sword, you are my enemy. If you will relinquish that sword, then I will gladly shake your hand. And of course he did. And we find out that we must come to God not on our terms, but on His. And we come to God at the moment of surrender, unconditional surrender. And we say, Lord, here's my life. Take it, Lord. You be my Lord, and I will follow where you lead. A part of that, giving up, is what do we pursue? What are we looking for in our life? Jesus says in verse 19, do not lay up for yourself treasures on earth, where moth and rust, and where thieves break in and steal. There is no treasure, material treasure on this planet that we can gain that has a guarantee of being secure forever. That all of our hope is in that. There is none. So when we start and we spend our entire life pursuing just those earthly treasures, Paul Nixon stood up here one time and was preaching to us, and I think he was going to the other building, and he had talked about he was making a pretty good living doing law enforcement, and they went and got the house, they went and got the RV, and you got to have the boat, and they went and got that, and they had all these things till you had they're paying for it, you don't own it. I read one thing that said you have the haves and the have-nots, and the haves what they're not paying for. So he lost it all on a fire, every bit of it. And then God called him into the ministry, and him and his 4 or 5 children, however many it was at the time, lived in an RV for a year while they were doing what the Lord indeed called them to do. So when you decide, I'm going to pursue this, it's going to cost you something. When we decide that we're going to, $200 payment a month, that ain't nothing. Sign that dotted line, and you find out we got all this overtime we got to work to make sure we pay for it. It costs us something, don't it? To have the treasures we have, it's going to cost us something. Jesus tells us not to waste your time storing up for yourself treasures on earth. Every bit of it is perishable. Every bit of it. No matter the house you build, remember Hurricane Opal, 1995, Bob Sykes' big mansion over there? It destroyed a trailer that my wife and I were living in. The same one that destroyed our trailer moved the mansion off the foundation. Neither one was safe. So there's nothing. I mean, any of you chuckle a little bit when you go up to the bank window. There's a little sign there that tells you your money is completely protected and insured by the federal government. Does that make anybody feel better? Okay. All right. So see, nothing is secure. Moths and all that can destroy. I want you to look at Luke chapter 12. So we have to understand, what are we going to pursue? We're going to spend our time and our energy on something. Okay? Some people will spend their time and energy binge watching on Netflix. That's how they're going to spend it. But we're going to spend our time and our energy pursuing something. If you look at Luke chapter 12 and verse 13, it says, then one of the crowd said to him, Teacher, tell my brother to divide the inheritance with me. Things will cause more problems between humans than any other thing. possession and desire, you'll see families split. We had a funeral one time. A lady had died in Crestview, and she had at the funeral they were expecting problems with the family, so they called for security at the funeral home. Well, to everybody's surprise, there was no problem. The part of the family that had a disagreement wasn't there. Now, to everybody's second surprise, they had a truck back at Grandma's house loading everything up while everybody else was at the funeral. You understand? So, possessions will cause you some problems. So these people look at Jesus and he says, look, tell him to give me half the inheritance, to split it with me. Jesus said, man, who made me a judge or an arbiter over you? And he said to them, take heed and beware of covetousness, for one's life does not consist in the abundance of the things he possesses. One's life does not consist in the abundance of the things he possesses. You and I will never, ever have enough. We always want more. Even if it's subtle. Maybe you've even got to a point where that demon's not as strong in your life as he used to be, but we always are looking for the next thing. I went up bad about that, and I finally was praying, you know what, Lord God? Help me to focus on the now. Because I see things that ain't there. I just always look. And I ain't just talking about hearing voices. That's a different story. But I mean, I see things. That, and I'm looking. But you know, I said, Lord, sometimes we got to focus on the now. Sometimes we got to focus on what's going on now. The kids are going to be grown. Loved ones are going to be gone. Things are going to happen. We got to learn to live in the now and to just be thankful for what God has given. That's what he tells us. So it doesn't consist of the abundance of things he possesses. There are those that are dirt floor poor who are just as happy as can be. Because they got their faith in God, they got their family, they got what they need, and it's just a great thing. I love talking to people, a lot of them, they're getting a lot fewer now. But if you talk to people who lived through the Great Depression or grew up through it, and you know what, a lot of them will tell you, we didn't know there was. We had food. We had the creek to go jump in. We had a roof. And they didn't know it. And the thing is, we'll get to that part in a minute, but it's what you see. And the most important things in life are not things, and that's what Jesus said. He says, take heed and beware of covetousness, for one's life does not consist in the abundance of things he possesses. Then he spoke a parable to them, saying, the ground of a certain rich man yielded plentiful. And he thought within himself, saying, what shall I do, since I have no room to store my crops? So he said, I will do this. I will pull down my barns and build greater. There I will store all my crops and my goods, and I will say to my soul, soul, you have many goods laid up for many years. Take your ease, eat, drink, and be merry. Man, he looked and said, I have got an abundance. This is more than I can do anything with. I can't even store this stuff. I have so much. And the thought wasn't, well, how is my neighbor doing? The thought wasn't, how are those in need down in the city doing? That was never the thought. Well, I know what I'll do. I'll tear down my barns and I'll build bigger and I will do nothing. I will eat, I will drink, and I will be merry. I've got mine. Is that an attitude that we see amongst us today? I mean, absolutely. We live in a world that tells you, get yours at the cost of whoever. And we see that, but listen to what God said. God said to him, fool, this night your soul will be required of you. Then whose will those things be which you have provided? So is he who lays up treasure for himself. This is not rich, and is not rich toward God. No, here's the thing. That bumper sticker says the one that dies the most always wins. And the Christian version of that is ... nothing. When you get to the point where you realize everything you spend all your time working for, all the family relationships and the times that we give up and the investments that we have and the things that we miss and teaching our family spiritually and growing, all the stuff, we trade that for things. We trade it for that car payment. We trade it for a bigger mortgage. We trade it for that boat. We trade it for you fill in the blank. And we trade that. And all those things at the end, he said, well, my kid's going to get the boat. I guarantee you they'd rather you. So when he tells them that, and we have to watch that attitude, and you can go back to Matthew now. If we are living a life that is simply the pursuit of material things, we are misguided. We're aiming at the wrong thing. Jim Elliott, he said, no man is a fool who gives up what he cannot keep in order to gain that which he cannot lose. And you all know the story, or if you don't, look it up, where he and 4 other missionaries were killed as they were making prematurely first contact with a tribe and the Wadani people, and they were all killed. The movie Into the Spirit gives a very accurate portrayal of that. The son of Nate Saint, I believe, one of the son of Mr. Saint, the one that flew the plane, the pilot, he actually went back and lived with him as an adult for part of the time, and his mother and his aunt, and they shared the gospel, and many of them come to know Jesus, and there are churches there and out. But Saint gave up, well, him too, but Elliot, they gave up. So they gave up their lives, but they gained a martyr's reward in heaven. I mean, he is not a fool who gives up what he cannot keep in order to gain that which he cannot lose. And so he says, we're each faced with a decision. Do we face our own, or do we face the Lord's treasure? I've known 2 men in my lifetime who at one time, one was offered a job that would have solved financial problems, it had security, had benefits, and they said, you're going to work Sundays? He said, I cannot take it. I cannot take it and not have my family in church on Sunday. I knew another man just recently told his boss, he said, listen, I am failing spiritually in leading my household. Good money, out on the road, that was the problem. He was going a lot, per diem paid, hotels paid for, didn't eat anywhere but the finest restaurants, didn't cost him nothing, making good money. He said, you know what, I'm letting my family down spiritually. And he put in his notice. So when we get to that point, we say, you know what, here's the thing. There's 2 treasures. Which one am I going to seek? Which one am I going to pursue? And when we reach that point, we say, I've got to lay. See, verse 19 tells you what not to do. Verse 20 tells you, but lay up for yourself treasures in heaven where neither moth nor rust destroys, where thieves do not break in and steal. You can be rich one day. You can have all the stuff you want one day, and the next day it be gone. You've heard of people who at one time were floating high financially, that were in good spots, and all of a sudden just it's gone. I've known people. I had a buddy of mine that was back here in the Clinton administration. He had, I think he was 12 years into the military. He was wanting to retire. He was in the Air Force. He was doing good. He had a wife and a child on the way. And all of a sudden, the government decided we're cutting jobs, we're making cutbacks. He got told, here's your severance, bye. All of that security gone. What am I going to do? Where are we going to go? It's just gone. That can happen. But here's the thing. What I invest in Jesus Christ is put up in heaven. It's stored in the bank of heaven. And nothing, not rotten moth or steel or thieves or rust or anything can affect that. Isn't that awesome? There's nothing that can take away from the investments that I make in Christ. The investments that I make in others for the cause of Christ. That is safe and secure. Thank God for that. So you decide, what am I working for? Will I work for something perishable, or will I work for something that beyond a shadow of a doubt is eternal? I want you to look at Matthew chapter 13, just a few pages over. Matthew chapter 13 and verse 45 and 46, he says, again, the kingdom of heaven is like a merchant seeking beautiful pearls. And when he had found one pearl of great price, he went and sold all that he had and bought it in. That means where you have seen, you're looking for something, and then all of a sudden you find the one thing, and you say, this is the thing, and I will sell all that I have in order to buy this one thing. This one thing is worth more than anything I got. That's what happens when we find Jesus. When Jesus finds us, when we get to that point, we say, Lord, I believe, I'm trusting you, Lord Jesus, and all the things that I held on to, all the things that I put my security in, my trust in, are nothing compared to you. I will trust in you, Lord. Lord, I will pursue you, and that's that pearl of great price. And imagine, I read a story, because I was trying to read through some parables, and there was a fellow who was in Africa, and I can't remember his name, but he ended up walking out in this field one day, I mean, broke, nothing. and ended up finding, I think it was a 729 carat diamond laid on his property. I get excited when I find a dollar. Okay? 700, I think at that time it sold for, I think it was over $300,000. So when you saw that and everything else, this is my nest egg, this is it. Well, here's the thing, even that could be gone. Even that, there's no security in that. One preacher in Texas, he went to one fellow that was trying to reach a visit in his church a little bit, and he says, "Preacher, let me show you something." He takes him over here and he looks out the west window and he said, "You see them over there?" And he said, "Those are mine. They're doing this for oil." He said, "Look over here, look on the west side, or east side. You see them cows right there?" And he tells me how many there. I said, "Every one of them's mine." He said, "I want you to look over here on the south side. See them right there? It's pine. They're all mine. And one day I'm going to have to harvest that, and that's going to be, that alone is a good chunk of change." Takes him to the north side, shows him something over there. The preacher said, "Okay, so there's something." He said, "What up there is yours?" Old Ranger kind of stopped and looked and thought, he just shook his head and he said, "I see your hand." Because they're northeast, south, and west. They never did that separated. There's going to come a day they're going to lay in the box. You go to, again, I talked about Bible Sacks again. If you go to Live Oak Cemetery, you can go over there and you see gravestones from little bitty flags to nice headstones. They got some that's got the things where they're above ground, and the Bible Sacks got this big old headstone here. Congressman. You know what? He is just as dead as the unmarked grave that we don't even know about anywhere. Because why? It is appointed unto man once to die. There is going to come a day that they're going to plant David Russell Jr. in the ground. I can show you the spot. It's already preserved over there. No, I ain't going to hurry to move in. But that's where it's at. Okay? But one day they're going to put me there, and only what's done for Christ is going to matter. The investments I made in my children. I don't know, we spent what? Over a decade giving a lot to a certain place we worked at. Bill did. We both worked there. Sweated. Man, I mean, everything was looking in. And you know what? They probably wouldn't know who we was if we walked in there today. And we spent hey, I ain't going to maybe I know we had plans tonight. We're not going to be there. Not coming home. Can you heat up a TV dinner? Just leave it. All those nights and times. I bet you they wouldn't know who it was if we walked in today. But you know what I do know? I know that my Jesus knows what I do. I know that my youngins know what I do. My wife knows everything we do. And as we go back and we do our best to invest in those closest to us and those of our neighbors and for the cause of Christ, those are things that ain't nobody never going to forget. Because it has eternal significance. And don't waste your time and your energy pursuing things that ain't going to matter. One of my favorite sayings, another 100 years ain't nobody going to care. You might be surprised, it might not take that long. But here's the thing, when Jesus said that pearl of great price, it is worth pursuing. It cost him everything. And if you were to go out and find, we got down here our little mine shaft, we got little big red marbles, those are rubies. We got little green marbles, those are emeralds. We got little clear ones, those are diamonds. We got some little gold, that's pebbles in this Chris's driveway, painted that way. And if we were to tell them youngins that inside that mine cart is a $5 gold piece in that mine cart. But here's the thing, you can keep all of the rubies and emeralds and diamonds and gold you find, or you can bring this back and take another chance to dig in the mine cart to see if you can find that $5 gold piece. How many do you think would actually bring their fake stuff back and go digging again to get that gold piece? I guarantee every one of my heathens would. They'd be like $5. They in there. You went back in the head with a shovel going to get. You hear me? We're still praying for them, okay? But they would go. Because why? One ain't worth nothing. It'd be a handful. Look, a handful of glass and gold. But it ain't worth nothing. But that $5, that's real. And see, that's what happens. All the other stuff that we waste our time pursuing in this world is colored glass and painted rocks. But Jesus is real. That's the pearl of great price. They don't be hitting nobody over the head with a shovel. Look, Jesus says, come all you that will. Okay, you ain't got to hit nobody over the head with a shovel. But it's real. It's something worth pursuing. Don't let the devil trick you and deceive you with colored glass. Because he'll sure enough do it. So I want you to go back to Matthew 6 now. He says something very important. Where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. I mean, that's the truth. Listen, if my heart is wrapped up in material things, I'm going to spend every moment I can pursuing material things. If my heart is wrapped up in spiritual things, I'm going to be pursuing spiritual. I want that relationship with Jesus. If I understand that, if I grasp that, then and I'm storing these treasures up in heaven, I want to show you a picture of what's going to happen when you get there. Look at 1 Corinthians chapter 3. 1 Corinthians chapter 3, we'll start in verse 8. It says, now he who plants and he who waters are one, and each one will receive his own reward according to his own labor. That means, look, you don't earn your salvation. That's the gift of God, lest any man should boast. But you are losing or gaining rewards by what you do for Christ here on earth. I'm going to show you this text, and it's going to be point blank, and I want you to understand that. There are those that will be rewarded higher, and there are those that will be rewarded less, according to your own work. But salvation is the gift of God, lest any man should boast. Praise God for that, because none of us earn it. But I want you to look at this. It says, rewarded according to your own labor. It says, for we are God's we are God's fellow workers. You are God's field. You are God's building. According to the grace of God, which was given to me as a wise master builder, I have laid the foundation, and another builds on it. But let each one take heed how he builds on it. For no other foundation can anyone lay than that which is laid, which is Jesus Christ. Now, if anyone builds on this foundation with gold, silver, and precious stones, wood, hay, and straw, each one's work will become clear. For the day will declare it, because it will be revealed by fire, and the fire will test each one's work of what sort it is. If anyone's work which he has built on it endures, he will receive a reward. If anyone's work is burned, he will suffer loss. But he himself will be saved, yet so is through fire. Do you not know that you are the temple of God, and that the Spirit of God dwells in you? See, what's going to happen is look at it like this. We'll call sometimes Crusty Wholesale or Southern Pipe. We just used to go Steve pick stuff up. But we'll make an order, and you know what they'll do? They'll send out materials. They'll send out materials. Now, if you were to go down there, you would see this adventure tower we got down there, and there's 6x6s all over that bad boy. We could have done it with 4x4s. Could? You could. Do you know you could have built the same shape with 2x4s? Do you know technically, I don't know how you got the third level done, you could have built the same shape with 2x2s. Maybe even 1x2s. I wouldn't stand under if you was to build it right now. You know why? Here's the thing. Because we would have ordered materials that were not sufficient for the project we had been given. Right? So here's the thing. Every day you send materials to heaven. Every single day, what you do, how you do it, your mind, your motives, remember Jesus talked about the heart, everything you do, you are sending a supply truck to heaven. God, here it is. Now, on that day, when what you have packed and what you have sent, will it be 1x2s or will it be 6x6s? What will it be? If you have spent your life sending up hay and stubble and wood and nothing else and no precious materials invested in Jesus, there's going to come a day you're going to lose reward for that. You say, Brother David, I don't like that. I didn't write it. I just read it. If you don't like it, take it up with the Lord. But that's what it says. Well, I tried to compensate somebody yesterday. You know what they told me? They said, I said, let us give you a blessing. They said, I get blessed just by being here doing it for the Lord. I said, amen. That's awesome. That was, my blessing, and they said, is to do it for Jesus. That's my blessing. Whatever you want to bless me with, bless somebody else. Amen. That ain't done 1 by 2. That's getting sent up there. You hear that? How awesome is that? Well, he says, look, your salvation is a gift. What you do with it, what did it say? By your own labor. You got work to do. I got work to do. It says, where your heart, it says, look at verse 24. You go back to Matthew 6. We're skipping 2 verses. We're going to come back to it. Where your heart is, treasure is, there your heart will be also. Your heart's going to be with the thing you love. It goes down to verse 24. It says, no one can serve 2 masters. For either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will love the one and despise the other. You cannot serve God and man. That's the wealth. Won't you look at Matthew 19. Verse 16, now behold, one came and said to him, good teacher, what good thing shall I do that I may have eternal life? And he said to him, why do you call me good? No one is good but one, that is God. But if you want to enter into life, keep the commandments. And he said to him, which one? Jesus said, you shall not murder, you shall not commit adultery, you shall not steal, you shall not bear false witness, honor your father and your mother, and you shall love your neighbor as yourself. And the young man lied and said, all these things I have kept from my youth, what do I still lack? Man, in the religious world, he was doing good. I've done all that. Well, Jesus knows in David's heart what barriers I have between me and him. Jesus knows what barriers, what idols, what things that I have in place that keep me from being everything Jesus wants me to be. He knows that. And the thing is, you pray that the Holy Spirit will show you those. He knows mine, he knows yours. And Jesus, he knows this young man right here too. To the young man said to him, all these things I've kept from my youth, what will I lack? Jesus said to him, if you want to be perfect, go sell what you have and give to the poor, and you will have treasure in heaven, and come follow me. Well, the young man heard that saying, and he went away sorrowful, for he had great possessions. See, there was a pearl of great price in front of him that Jesus was saying, here it is. And the man knew he wanted it. He knew there was something to it. That's why he was asking. I've done this religious stuff. I'm close. I'm standing here at the feet of Jesus. What else do you need? And Jesus said, you go sell everything you got. Give it to the poor. Come follow me. And the man went away sad. You know why he went away sad? He knew he made a bad deal. He was sad. But here was the thing. He was wanting to keep the sword and shake Jesus' hand at the same time. That was the thing. He went away sad because he had great possessions and he couldn't take that pearl of great price. He says, I'm going to keep my colored glass and my painted gold. I'm going to keep this. And he went away sad. It goes down in verse 23. Jesus said to his disciples, surely I say to you that it is hard for a rich man to enter the kingdom of heaven. And again, I say to you, it is easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter the kingdom of God. It's hard. Why? Because there's so many distractions. When the disciples heard this, they were greatly astonished, saying, who then can be saved? Jesus looked at them and said to them, with men this is impossible, but with God all things are possible. See, the reality of it, and we don't think of ourselves as being rich, and we've got such a watered down version of Christianity in our nation today that we think sometimes we consider ourselves crucified with Christ. When you get right down to it, and I'm going to be real blunt, I don't even know if we're uncomfortable with Christ. When you get down, you talk about being dead to yourself and alive in Christ. I mean, where He is your Lord. He sits on the throne of your heart. I love Him. I pursue Him. His desires come before my desires. He is my God. He is my King. I'm dead into sin and alive in Christ. That's what that's what it's talking about here, and being crucified with Christ. I don't know that we're uncomfortable with Christ. And when we see the opportunities before us, and we do the same thing to rich young men. If you really want to know, Chuck, I don't even know how he knew about it today. He was coming. He said, we're going to start a new challenge where you have to go all weekend without electricity, all weekend without plumbing. You got to live in the dark, all this other stuff. I said, you know what we used to call that? He said, what's that? I said, church here. And but here's the thing. You know, if you want to know what it means to be poor, because you might think, I can't even afford to go to Cracker Barrel today. I am so poor. But if you want to know what it means to be poor compared to the rest of the world, go out and take what you have, go get a part of your yard and try to plant some crops. Now don't be getting Jack to come run a sprinkler to it. Get your bucket and walk down to the creek and fill that up, and then you come back and you start to water those plants every day. Every day, because your life depends on it. This is what you're going to feed your family. And get rid of all those extra clothes and shoes. You just get a couple of suits. It's all you got. That's it. And then let's sleep maybe out in the shed, because our houses are way too nice to be compared with those that live in other parts of the world that you've seen well over Haiti and things like that. And let's just say, Mr. Don, that you've seen in Vietnam, let's just forget all the luxuries that we have. The 2 or 3 vehicles that we've got sitting outside. And let's be dirt floor poor. Let's grow our food, wear the same things over, wash our clothes by hand, hope that the drinking water hasn't been contaminated because it sat too long after the last rain, and then we may know an inkling of what it means to be poor. But as we sit in our pampered luxuries, complaining about the luxuries we don't have, while taking for granted the ones that we do have, we are some of the richest people on the planet. And we are distracted, and we don't follow Jesus with all that we have, because we're not looking for the pearl of great price. We're looking for pebbles and painted rocks. And that's what we'll be satisfied with. And we don't store up treasures in heaven. Somebody else is going to do the spiritual things. Let me get my material, let me get my spiritual, and everybody else can get their spiritual from somebody else. Because that part where Jesus said, I am a part of the church, I am a member of the body, I am to be active for Christ. Forget that. That didn't mean me, it meant everybody else. I've got mine. And we don't pursue those pearls of great price. And we get satisfied with nothing. And that's what he said. It is easier for a camel to pass through the eye of a needle than it is for a rich man to enter heaven. When you looked in the mirror this morning and brushed your teeth, you were staring at a rich person. So you need to be, the devil does not want you to be aware of the distractions in your life. He wants you just as comfortable and content with colored glass and painted rocks as you can be. He doesn't want you pursuing those pearls of great price. And there's enough wealth in your life to distract you. So when you say, Lord God, he didn't say it was, look, what did he say? With God, it is possible. Do you know one of the hardest, most difficult nations to evangelize on the planet is? You're listening. And did you know we have a church just about, you can't overthrow a rock without hitting a church or a common thumb. Did you know that? You're living it. Why? Because what did Jesus say? It's easier for a camel to go through the eye of the needle. We are so blessed in this nation. We are so blessed. If you look at all the things that are provided through those fleshly material possessions, I want you to look over at John 15. I want you to see how to have real joy. Because it's not enough just for you to know what we ought not do. You ought to know how to do what we should do. John 15, in chapter 9, Jesus says, as the Father loved me, I also have loved you. I'll tell you right now, you're materially, you're spiritually rich in that right there alone. How great is the love that the Father has lavished upon us, that we should be called the children of God. God loves you. God loves you like he loves Jesus. Abide in my love. That means remain in it. Man, get in that love and just, bask in it. Just be saturated with the love of God. He said, if you keep my commandments, you will abide in my love, just as I have kept my Father's commandments and abide in His love. These things I have spoken to you, that my joy may remain in you and that your joy may be full. Man, look, if you have found out that material possessions ain't never going to give you joy, lasting joy, let me tell you what will give you joy. It's the Spirit of Christ. And it just didn't just say that you're going to have it. It says that your joy may be what? Full. Ain't no joy like the joy of Jesus. I mean, what was his name? Howard Hughes. Howard Hughes was rich beyond measure. I mean, done all kind of things in his life. Had certain political people at all kind of levels of office in his pocket. You know what he died? He died a sick drug addict. Lost everything. Wow. There was never enough. There's enough in Jesus. You'll find your joy in Jesus. Your joy will be full. The pursuit of riches, it's like drinking salt water. The more you drink, the more you want. And the more you take on, the more it destroys. So if your kidneys down, you drink salt water, your kidneys are going to clean out. Get something to drink. Well, I'll drink some more salt water. Guess what? You're killing yourself. You're destroying your cells. You're dying. And when you feast on the things of this world, that's all we're doing. You just take it on salt water. I want you to go back to back to Matthew. We're getting ready to close. Matthew chapter 6. I want you to look at the last two verses. We skipped those. The lamp of the body is the eye. If therefore your eye is good, your whole body will be full of light. But if your eye is bad, your whole body will be full of darkness. If therefore the light that is in you is darkness, how great is that darkness? How do we see? How do we perceive? Perception, man, it's everything. Now, Sophia keeps praying for my eyes. And I don't know if God told her something He told me, but I'm thankful for my glasses. Do you hear me? Went to Dr. Johnson a few months ago, and they let you go through these little tests and everything. The Air Force told me this years ago that I didn't have that perception. What nobody did tell me is you could fix it. We went to MEPS and they said, look at this thing and tell me which one's closer. So they're all the same. Look again, they're all the same. Okay, you have no depth perception. Huh. Okay, that explains why I can't hardly drive at night in a strange place. Oh, I can't tell which red light's closer. I never heard nothing about it, right? Go to Dr. Batson a few months ago. She walks in there, she said, do you think all them people are lying to you when they go to 3D movies and stuff and tell you how awesome it is and laugh? I said, yes, ma'am. I said, I can't see 3D. I said, I put glasses on, it just makes everything not blurry. She goes, I've got the same thing. She said, I'm fit to make your life better. Well, I got my glasses. April and I went down to, I've never been excited about going to the Muppets till the last time she and I went to Orlando, okay? But I'll tell you, that is 3D shows, they laughed at it, the kids, they laughed at it, and she always laughed at it. And I thought, well, okay. Man, I put them glasses on. First thing we did, we went to Star Tours, was 3D, and we went to the Muppet Show, which was 3D. Because I wanted to see. I wanted to see. I need to know if y'all's all liars or not, because that's all I heard. So y'all ain't, you ain't for the most part. And anyway, we go there, and I'm watching Star Tours, and I'm like, whoa! So we're like, all right, the Muppets. We're going to the Muppets. Man, these things coming out of the screen. There's out this little guy sticking his nose out there right in front of them. I mean, just all kind of little things. I never seen nothing like it. I said, dude, this is cool. I got to go find me a 3D space movie now. That's how it's going to come. But I saw. And see, you understand? I couldn't see that before. I heard everybody talking about it, but my lamp wasn't good. I didn't see it. And it's the same way spiritually with the things of God. You'll hear people talking about it, and you'll hear people say, man, I was able to just give God everything, and God used with it, and they won't brag on themselves, but they'll just say, you know, God was able to do this through it, and it's amazing. And you know, I spent many years not being able to see it. And I'll be honest with you, there were times I remember thinking, man, that's crazy. I kind of thought that about my family with 3D. I thought, that's crazy. Ain't nothing coming out. Dude, it comes out. It looks like it's coming out of the screen. My eyes focused it. How's your focus? Is your lamp good? Are you seeing spiritual things? Can you see heaven? Are you storing up treasures in heaven? Or are you storing up treasures here on earth that someday ain't going to be yours no more? Or you're working your tail off for things that are never going to be yours for eternity? Are you spending your time investing in the things for Jesus? What are you doing? Where your treasure is, there your heart is also. I can tell you all day long what I believe. Everybody will say what they believe. Not everybody will live what they believe. So here's the thing. Where is my treasure? And where is my heart? And it needs to be with Jesus. If your perception, if you don't have that spiritual view, ain't nothing going to be ever good enough. Never going to be good enough. Well, look what it says. It says, how great is that darkness? You can't get away from it. The perception ain't nothing good. I mean, they won the lottery. I know that y'all all super spiritual now, you play the lottery. But you won the lottery, and then they wanted me to go to Tallahassee and pick up the check. Like they couldn't mail a $35 million check. Come on. That's ridiculous. I guarantee you somebody complained about it. You know somebody would. You say, well, did you know the price of gas these days? And you understand. Look. Your perception's always bad. Unless you get focused on Christ. And then you can be in prison singing hymns and praying. If people get you saved. But get your heart in the right place. We guard our souls by guarding our eyes. And the last question I wrote down is, how's your evening? How's the evening where you are? Let's pray.